Have you ever seriously thought about what it would take to live a healthy, vibrant life all the way to 100? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to crack the code using real science and the habits of the longest-lived people on the planet. So, let's dive right in.
Okay, first things first, let's tackle a huge assumption. We all tend to think that our longer lifespans are basically a gift from modern medicine. You know, all the pills, the vaccines, the fancy procedures. But is that really the whole picture?
I mean, it's absolutely true that life expectancy has skyrocketed. Just look at these numbers. Back in 1900, the average person was lucky to see 32. Today, that's more than doubled. On the surface, it looks like a clear win for medicine, right? But the story, it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, here's the twist. The single biggest leap in human longevity actually happened before antibiotics and most of the vaccines we have today became common. So, who were the real heroes? You're going to love this. Plumbing and sanitation engineers. Seriously, just by cleaning up our water and managing waste, they practically eliminated killer diseases like cholera and typhoid that used to take out so many people, especially kids. That's what really moved the needle.
So this brings us to a really fundamental question we have to ask ourselves. Do we want to spend our lives just managing disease, or do we want to focus on actively creating health? You know, the first path, managing disease, that often means just depending on medications to mask symptoms. But the second path, creating health, that's all about optimizing how your body functions to genuinely boost your quality of life. Let's focus on that second path.
So if we want to learn how to create health, where should we look? Well, let's go straight to the masters of longevity, the people of Japan. They have more people living over the age of 100 than anywhere else on Earth.
Just let that number sink in for a second. Over 95,000 centenarians. That is not an accident. That is the result of a culture and a lifestyle that is literally built around health. So what are they doing right? What are their secrets?
Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of things working together. For starters, nutrition education is required by law in their schools. Their diet is packed with things like fermented soy, which is great for vitamin K2, and lots of seaweed for essential minerals. They get unique microbes from eating foods grown in their local soil. They walk a ton, over 6,000 steps a day on average, and they practice something called hara hachibu, which basically means you stop eating when you're about 80% full. Smart, right?
Okay, so you might think you have the formula figured out. Eat like the Japanese, live to 100. But get ready for a plot twist. Let's look at another longevity hotspot, Hong Kong, because they present a really fascinating paradox.
Get this, the average person in Hong Kong eats almost 324 pounds of meat every single year. That's one of the highest rates in the entire world, and it includes a ton of pork and beef, you know, the very foods we're often told to stay away from if we want to live a long life. So, what is going on? How can they live so long while eating so much meat?
The answer, it turns out, is in the fundamentals, not just one specific food group. If you look past the type of meat, you start to see the common ground. Both cultures eat a lot of seafood. Both cultures walk a lot. And both have very, very low smoking rates. It just goes to show you that these core habits are way more important than any single dietary rule. All right, so how do we take these lessons and actually apply them to our own lives? Let's build our very own longevity toolkit. We've seen what works for others. Now let's break down the actual biological switches you can flip to start creating health for yourself. Okay, first up is a process with a kind of weird name, autophagy. But don't worry about the name. Just think of it as your body's built-in self-cleaning mode. It's like a crew of microscopic housekeepers that go through your cells, clear out all the old, damaged junk, and recycle it to build fresh, healthy new cells. This is absolutely critical because the longer we live, the more cellular junk builds up.
So how do you turn on this amazing cleaning crew? Well, the most powerful tool we have is fasting. Simple, intermittent fasting, like eating all your meals in an 8-hour window each day, gives your body a daily break from digestion so it can get to work cleaning house. And if you want a really deep clean, an occasional longer fast of 48 to 72 hours can be incredibly powerful.
Next up, let's talk about what might be the #1 root cause of most chronic diseases we face today: insulin resistance. Think of insulin as the key that opens your cells to let sugar in for energy. But if you're constantly hitting your body with sugar and refined carbs, the locks on your cells get worn out and they start ignoring the key. The best way to see where you stand is a simple blood test for your fasting insulin. You really want to see that number below 7.
And here is such a simple but powerful way to help manage all of this. A short walk right after a meal helps your muscles soak up all that glucose from your bloodstream. It literally acts like the common diabetes drug metformin, but it's totally free and comes with 0 side effects. Now for a really cool concept. It's called hormesis. This is basically the scientific principle behind that old saying, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." The idea is that exposing your body to small, strategic doses of stress actually forces it to adapt and become stronger and more resilient. And what's amazing is you can trigger this strengthening response in so many ways. The shock of a hot sauna or a cold shower, the physical stress from a good workout, even bitter plant compounds in things like green tea or dark chocolate. Sunlight on your skin, the microbes and fermented foods, they're all small, beneficial challenges that tell your body, hey, get stronger. Okay, but listen. None of this works without the foundation. You could have the most perfect diet, the best exercise plan in the world, but if you are not getting high-quality sleep, you are basically undermining every single one of those efforts. Sleep is non-negotiable. It's when your body does all its most important repair and recovery work.
And the great news is you can start improving your sleep tonight. It's not that complicated. First, cool your room down. Your body temperature needs to drop to get into that deep, restorative sleep. Second, block out blue light from your screens after the sun goes down because it messes with your sleep hormones. And third, maybe try some magnesium glycinate an hour before bed. It can really help calm the nervous system.
We've covered some really powerful habits, but now let's tie this all together with the final piece of the puzzle. And trust me, it's a big one. Let's talk about your genes.
You see, scientists have identified what they call a longevity gene. It's called FOXO3, and people who live exceptionally long and healthy lives often have a more active version of this gene. But here is the absolute best part. This isn't about winning the genetic lottery. You have this gene, and the choices you make every single day can literally turn it on.
Now, take a good look at this list. Does it seem familiar at all? It absolutely should. It is everything we just talked about. Fasting, exercise, hot and cold therapy, good sleep. Every single one of these habits is a direct signal you are sending to your body, telling it to switch on its own built-in longevity program. So the science is clear, the path is right there in front of us. You now have the toolkit to take control of your own biology. The only real question left is, which tool are you going to pick up first to start building your own healthy century?